I'm not successful in any way anyway.
Okay,
What's the point?
Got it started. So should I put it up here or
I'll
just on the
put it
table?
up there. That way I can get everyone. Oh, I'm gonna grab my book right quick.
So as Chad gets his book, does anyone want to start? Or
Well, let's have you start, Zach.
okay.
So, what is one of your questions?
Why does Leonard want to kill Asher?
I think he wants to kill him because of probably some conflicts from younger years and from school. So therefore, he probably wants to murder him because of some things that he's done to Leonard.
That makes sense. From reading the chapter where they're in the PE room and Asher throws, was it dodgeball at the foreign exchange student or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was.
That was very uncalled for.
Mm-hmm. Very. I cannot find it. What's your other question?
Why did the author include the future letters?
I think the author did that to give Leonard a heads up, like, hey, this is gonna happen in the future. You can end these other people's lives, but don't end yours because people are gonna need you within the future and need your help finding other people when it all goes to hell. So therefore, I think trying to basically a warning letters, like, hey, don't do this, but you can do this. What do you think about it, Cody?
How far did he get in the book?
As far as 68.
Okay.
I can't remember most of it.
Oh, I have a good question. So, as we read earlier in the book, we learned that Leonard's dad was a rock star and an overdose. So, like, it sounded like it was on purpose, but
Mm-hmm.
do you think Leonard's wanting to kill himself, just trying to reach out, like, to be closer to his dad? Because it didn't sound like he spent quality time with them or, like, hadn't really that connection. So,
All right. My thought on that is I agree with you on trying to reach out to his father, but I think he's also trying to reach out to his mother, like, hey, you abandoned me here off in New York with your boyfriend, and my father's not here, don't know where he's at. He almost died, and you're just gonna leave me in a time of need when I'm gonna need someone there, a how do I say it, some form of guidance to help show the right path in life instead of doing it on your own and having to learn what's the right way and what's the wrong way to go about with your decision making process, like what he's about to do. That is not typically the right way nor the wrong. I would have to say that's in the middle. Is he's probably been bullied, made fun of, and all that, but it still does not mean that it's also right to have to kill these other people because they made you feel upset and you're alone and depressed.
That's a very good point. So who thinks that Leonard's gonna kill himself like towards the end of the book? So we have one person. Anyone else? Okay. Nate, provide your evidence.
He's already going through enough with this person. Why do you think he wants to stay alive and go through more with him getting in trouble and all that? And he can just take himself out. And he'll think it'd be better for him instead of just being punished and all that, going through what he's already gone through.
Guess what stage Young needs to be. He's gonna shoot him. He is probably kill himself. But if he doesn't kill him, then how bad?
Because that doesn't even gets to that point. He could be stopped before that. But then again, nobody else really knows about it. They're just receiving gifts from him randomly. They don't know. The only person that really suspects anything would be his neighbor.
I think the reason why it leaves them gifts is like a calling card or your last mark on someone. When I've been told from other people in life, whenever someone's about to go or it's their time and they're ready, they'll give out gifts or they'll call everyone in their family up and tell them how much they mean to them and how much they love them. And then they're going to proceed with their plan. But in this case, with Leonard, he does gifts, kind of like a mark, a remembrance mark. Like, hey, here's a gift, remember me.
It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you read the book or seen the Netflix TV show, 13 Reasons Why.
Hmm.
I think we read it last year for
I
something.
watched it.
But the main character, like, gives away, like, her stuff, like the bike and
I'm talking about the other guy. The one who's about to die.
then in the book, Leonard's giving away like his college funding to the one violin player. He's what do you call it? Giving away the bronze medal to the history teacher. Did he give away anything else?
Cut off his hair.
That's right.
And he sent it to his mother. And with a letter, I don't remember fully what it said, but basically it would say, are you happy now? And then it says something else on it.
And give that baseball cap to his neighbor.
I have a question for you. So far within, as far as we are in the book, what part so far most interests you?
Well, I think the most interesting part that I found was how the author is like explaining Leonard's journey from like it's kind of like explaining like why he's like had enough of everyone's crap and it's just ready for it all to end.
I would probably have to say my best part was when when his teacher asked his AP English teacher to ask him to stay, that way they can talk, and he hit her with some knowledge and some wisdom that he can use later in his life, and telling her like, look, this is what I'm gonna need in my life. This is what I will remember forever. This is what I don't need to know right now because it's not gonna help me later down the line. And then he almost made her cry one night. And then uh, there's a part I can remember. He says, uh, if I didn't have to kill, I think it was Beazle, however you say it, or Hersh Silverman, one of the two. If he didn't have to kill him, then he would have just walked in the bathroom stall and ended his own life right then and there. But since he has to kill them, then himself, he has to stay and deal with it a little while longer. And then he didn't feel so well after.
What's your guys' reaction to how the teachers and students are responding to Leonard's like gifts and kind of like attitude? Because you can clearly see that he's, I don't want to say more confident, but like
Different.
different. So
That's not normally like him.
His teachers remembered him as someone who barely showed up to class, barely did anything, little to nothing in their classes. And the classmates, they were used to him hardly ever being there and not really talking much, staying in his own little world. That way he doesn't make friends, and he doesn't have to worry about having to deal with all the drama and other things that come along with talking to other people, the conflicts.
today someone asked me an interesting question. Would you rather know how you're gonna die or when you're gonna die?
How I'm gonna die. I don't want to know when I'm gonna die because it's just like even the thought of death just scares me because like you know you're not coming back. So like, you get one shot at life.
I would want to know when. That way, if it's a couple of years, then I could live my life how I usually would. But if it's like a couple months, I'm gonna live my life to the fullest because I don't want to know how I'm gonna die. Because that's gonna be the worst part. Because then you're gonna be scared all the way up till the date that it's gonna happen, and then you're not gonna. It's gonna be more terrifying than what it really is. But if you know when you're gonna die, you're like, okay, this is when I'm gonna die. This is what I'm gonna do all the way up till that point. Then when that day actually comes, I'll be more prepared, and I'll know I got the most out of life while I'm still here.
Do you have any thoughts on this, Cody?
How do you think he got the P-38?
I think it's from his grandpa because he was in the war and killed Nazis, and I'm just putting Nazi gun and a soldier that killed Nazis. You kind of see the connection where he probably took some, like, I wouldn't say like a trophy, but like kind of something to remember the war and stuff like that.
To remember what he did and kind of relive on how he did it. But to me, um, I know a lot of people collect weapons for many different reasons. My grandfather on my dad's side used to collect weapons for remembrance and sort of like trophies. But in this case, I think he did take it as a token more instead of like a trophy or something. Like, okay, I did this, so this is what I'm going to take because I did this good deed. So I technically earned this. And then his grandson Leonard had found it and had taken it and is now going to seek his revenge on everyone in his school.
I kind of went with Zach. I thought it was like a family member or relative. He just, when he took it from or knew where the gun was hidden and had it in his hands.
My thing is, where so far in the story, it has not mentioned much about his family besides his father being a rock star and almost overdosed. His mom doing modeling up in New York with her new boyfriend, and a couple other characters. But the one that most stood out to me was when he was following the adults around, the sad, miserable adults, to see if he can handle it, if he were to not go through his suicide mission. I think when he met the sunglasses woman, I think she stood out to him as sad, but it made him happy at the same time because he can kind of connect on a different level than what most people can with other people.
He was just trying to find his inner self where he thought he belonged. See if he would have kept going with this or not.
See where it fits in. Like a brick in a wall. You got to keep trying a different hole every time until you eventually find your spot, you settle in it, and then you're with the whole system.
So like Tetris.
hmm You have to keep building and building and building, but you also have to knock down lower levels of your life that you've already been through. So that way you always have more room for what's going to happen next instead of, okay, here's my past, here's my present. I have no room for my future because of my past, so let's cut that out and do my present, my future.
So it's like a puzzle.
That way you're constantly improving.
If he knows what he's, if you like, you think you know what he knows what he's doing, how do you think it'll impact the people around him?
I think probably the most affected by it is probably the neighbor and his mom. More towards the neighbor because they almost had like a father son bond because the father, well, like the actual father isn't there, and of course the mom's not there, so like there's a big gap of like family bonding that isn't happening, and so he's gonna want to connect to someone for like emotional reasons, and there's the old bloodshot eyed neighbor, and the neighbor, I think he enjoys the company, and he's probably drinking and smoking because he doesn't have anyone like to be with him during the times that Leonard isn't. So he'll probably drink and smoke a lot more. And the mom will be affected because that's her baby boy. So you'd think that she'd be upset and she'll probably maybe adjust her actions, and she will probably end up feeling guilty for and kind of feel like she was the one that caused it, like for Leonard to do all this. So that's just my opinion.
I kind of feel like the neighbor would care the most about what would happen. Because I just kind of feel like, toward my opinion, in the end of the story, if he does decide to take himself out, his mom is probably going to be up in New York with her new boyfriend, doing whatever, and just leave him with his neighbor, and then she'll realize and be guilty for not being around him enough and not taking care of him enough. That's just how I feel like it'll play out.
I agree with Nate on that because he spent a significant amount of time with his neighbor. So he turned his neighbor from water into basically, in Leonard's eyes, blood. That transformation where he's no longer a stranger, he is someone you deeply trust. And I think he goes over there, as Zach had said, to have that bonding time because his father is off making music and whatnot, and his mother's doing modeling. So therefore, he has no one to do that with. And so I think if he were to take his life, his neighbor, as you had said, is going to keep smoking and drinking even more. So in my brain, when you had said that, was comprehending that okay, he's going to try forcefully shutting his own body down by increasing his alcohol capacity intake, and then his cigarette habit even worse than what it already is. And his mom, I don't think will be deeply affected. She's gonna feel a little regret because she wasn't there, but I think it's not gonna hit her as hard as what it should because, as it said early on in the book, that it's been like 2 or 3 years since she has been back, and when she finally came back to help him one day, he enjoyed it, and then he got depressed again when she had to leave the next day. So I think she's not really gonna feel that. Cody, what do you think about this? What?
Kind of go off you a little bit. His neighbor will probably, I don't think will increase his habits, but maybe try and do something to end himself because that was like his only best friend around. They had such a good connection. Like and he'll just feel so deeply lost and won't know what to do because he always enjoyed him coming over before school or just coming over randomly when like you said in the book, he had the door open for him anytime he needed. So that was like his closest buddy compared to being next door. And when he's gone, he's not going to have that connection.
I have a good question that will make you all think. If this was a movie, it would be like the actors playing like any of the characters in the book.
What do you mean by that?
Like,
That's not fair because I don't know no actors.
So are you talking about like actors from another movie?
oh, like any actor in the world.
Okay.
If you can pick like any of them, like if you're the director, what would you pick for the movie?
The kid in Home Alone,
For which character?
Leonard.
Because he had drug problems or like,
No, not even.
Me, if I,
No, it's just
I was.
the kid was smart and he knew what he was doing.
Mhm.
You know, those robbers trying to come in and like trying to mess with him. He always was intelligent, knew his way out.
Yeah, it was hilarious. But I think if I was to turn this into a movie, I would change it a little bit into of how it plays in my mind. Because when I read in my mind, I don't know, it's kind of weird because I can be reading and then it'll show a little movie clip in my head of it actually happening. So I think I would change it up a little bit to where when it shows the futuristic, when he reads the future, the letters from the future, I think I would have to change a little bit of what they said in those letters. Like, I would have to say about how Leonard likes the Dolphins and plays them. I would probably have to change that to they're more mutated the way he thought, and he's helping other people study them and to see on how to become more fish-like than bird-like, technically, because if you think about it, humans are more like birds than fish. We may not fly, we might be mammals, but we're still like birds in many different ways than what we are to fish. So if we are able to convert ourselves from like take I would say about 50 years, 30 to 50 years to fully correctly transform us from like birds into more like fish. That way, when that time does come, when the world does go and all hell does break loose, at least you know you'll be able to have a higher chance of survival than having to try finding a dry piece of land to start over with that could be small and you probably couldn't grow no crops because there's probably no sunlight, or if there is, it's not very much. That and you'll be struggling for clean water that you can drink and fresh food.
Like he's just struggling for a clean mind, just to get his head
Right.
straight. He's just trying to figure out what's best for him, and he thinks that's the way to go.
He's
But not in reality. There's always a different way other than that.
right. I've seen, I know a couple people who have tried taking this route in real life, and from what I had told them was, yeah, you might think this is the best way, go ahead and do it, and then see what happens when you're looking down as your soul is leaving your body, and you're thinking, like, per se, me, I would say in my life like Leonard, then I wouldn't ever see marriage. I would never have a family. I would never have a career. I would never be remembered. Besides, oh, that was a kid that had committed at the age of 16. So you have to think of the impact of, okay, do I want to be remembered or do I just want to be another number, a statistic that people look at on the internet? That's just how I look at it. And every time someone comes to me with a problem related to that, I'll tell them that, like, look, live. Do you want to live your life to the fullest? And yeah, you're gonna have your bumps in the road, struggle, but everyone does. Or you can end it all and not have to deal with that, but you're not gonna ever experience a lot of the joy that life has to offer.
Any kind of final thoughts on this?
I'm just happy with our discussion because I thought it was gonna be crap because Hannah isn't here, and I kind of feel like she probably has like 20 questions.
If not 50.
Charles White going off topic too. Just
But
Guarantee she's gonna be angry that she wasn't here to help discuss.
she wasn't here. That's on her.
Right.
but I'm just saying, like, I feel like we accomplished
A lot.
a lot in our time. So
Yeah.
We do. I think when we have to do the reflection, we won't have to reflect as much, but there's still gonna be a couple things that we're gonna have to. We would just have to rewatch it to define those bumps. Like, okay, this is what I did. Here's how I can improve this a little bit better. This way, for this next discussion, I don't make that same mistake again.
So are we done?
All right. Yep.
Just kind of roll out here.
I think everyone asked good questions.